Welcome to today's Office for Intellectual Freedom webinar. Thanks for joining us. My name is Kristen Peekole, and I'm the Assistant Director at ALA's Office for Intellectual Freedom, or OIF. It's my pleasure to introduce today's webinar, Get GIFy with It, How to Go Viral During Banned Books Week. We're going to start with 3 brief polls so our presenters have a better familiarity with the participants that have joined us today. First, does your library or organization have a dedicated staff member who manages your social media? Wow, that's fantastic. All right, I'm going to give it one more minute. I think I can actually leave that poll up while I open up the second poll. Is any library budget spent on social media? Staff salaries, subscriptions to scheduling or design tools, or advertising? And the last poll, how many hours a week do you work on social media? Fantastic. This is very helpful. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Close these right away. Our first speaker is Ellie Diaz. Ellie is a bibliowriter that's dedicated to integrating thoughtful content into the wonderful world of hashtags and GIFs. She's thankful that these skills are useful at her job at the American Library Association's Office for Intellectual Freedom, where she collaborates with experts on social media strategies and catchy taglines for the next big project. A fierce advocate for the freedom to read, Ellie is excited to share details about the upcoming Banned Books Week, where social media will be brought to the forefront and libraries are invited to join the hashtag conversation. You can find Ellie on Twitter and in the library at Ellie in the Stacks. Take it away, Ellie.
Thanks for that great introduction, Kristen. Hi, everyone. I'm Ellie Diaz, Program Officer at the Office for Intellectual Freedom. Before we get into this national program that ALA is putting on for Banned Books Week, I kind of wanted to talk about what Banned Books Week is all about. Banned Books Week 101. So Banned Books Week started in 1982 when an exhibit at a bookseller conference caught the attention of conference goers. And this exhibit was a huge cage with hundreds of banned books in it. Since then, ALA has been working with several libraries and free expression organizations to host the week, and it really has grown. Last year, Banned Books Week jumped across the pond, and London had their own Banned Books Week events. So for Banned Books Week, libraries can hold programs. Last year, the DC Public Library hosted the citywide Banned Book Scavenger Hunt. Other programs include coloring programs or recording patrons reading their favorite banned books. Libraries also make these amazing eye-catching displays, which you can see from the pictures. Librarians are getting pretty thrifty with caution tape and orange construction paper. However you celebrate Banned Books Week, it brings attention to the fact that books are still banned and challenged today, but they're also still being defended today by readers and librarians alike. With a little creativity, Banned Books Week is a great opportunity to bring attention to your library's collections and services, especially with the power of social media. With that in mind, ALA is hosting a national social media activity called the Rebel Reader Twitter Tournament, which is a little different than the Tri-Wizard Tournament from the Banned and Challenged series Harry Potter. During Banned Books Week, readers are encouraged to complete tasks from our list of action items and post them to Twitter using the hashtag #RebelReader. These action items were specifically designed to bring awareness to banned and challenged books, as well as highlight your library's resources. I'll show you the action items in just 1 second. All of these eligible tweets are then entered into a drawing for fantastic literary prizes, which we'll also go over. So these are the 8 action items. Readers can post as many of these as they want, but duplicate tweets are discouraged. You don't have to complete all 8 to be entered into the drawing. 1 tweet equals 1 entry into the drawing. So let's go over these. The first is take a selfie with a banned or challenged book. Allison is later going to show you some amazing examples of book face, which will definitely work for this task. Number 2 is share a video of yourself talking about censorship or reading from a banned or challenged book. This is where those readout videos come in handy. Number 3, post a quote from a favorite banned or challenged book. My favorite quote is, "Until I feared I would lose it, I never loved to read. One does not love breathing," which is, of course, from To Kill a Mockingbird. Number 4, share a story about an educator who helped you learn the power of words. I'm sure a lot of us had that one English teacher or librarian who made a difference in our lives, so this is an opportunity to give them a little shout out. Number 5, take a photo of a completed ALA Banned Books Week coloring sheet. Side note, happy National Coloring Book Day. We'll have an array of coloring sheets available, some created by actual banned authors. These can be found on the free downloads page. And also, one of them is being tweeted and is on our Facebook page right now, so you can take a peek. Number 6, take a photo of yourself with any Words Have Power swag. So the Words Have Power swag can be found on the ALA store. I think you guys have seen our bookmarks, our buttons, pins, totes, but also printable bookmarks will be available on our free downloads page, so no purchase is necessary. Number 7, share a link to your local library's homepage or book selection policy. And number 8, tweet some love at a banned author from this list. So the tasks will be continuously promoted on our website and social media accounts. The goal is to engage people in a conversation about censorship and banned books, but also highlight libraries. The audience of the tournament is your patrons. It's for readers, and it's specifically for age 13 and older. And then, let's get to the best part, the prizes. Every day of Banned Books Week, we'll be randomly selecting one winner who used the hashtag to tweet one of the tasks. We've partnered with some amazing authors and literary businesses, and the list is growing. So each of the winners gets a special swag bag, and in each of the swags is a tote bag, which I own one, and I can personally tell you it can fit a lot of banned books. Signed banned books. Right now we have Alex Gino's George and Raina Telgemeier's Drama included in that. A lithographs poster. A disappearing mug, so when you pour hot water in it, the redactions disappear. And then erase censorship pencils. But for this Twitter tournament to be successful, we need your help. So we'd like to ask you to partner with us. We're inviting libraries and nonprofits to become partners of the Rebel Reader Twitter tournament. What does a partner mean? Partners help publicize the Rebel Reader Twitter tournament with the goal of getting your patrons to participate. To become a partner, you would fill out the form on the ALA website, and the link is located on this slide. The title comes with tons of perks. So first, you have your logo and your website, your Twitter handle, and URL on the ala.org/bbooks page. Libraries that fill out the form will also receive a great digital toolkit. And this toolkit comes with printable bookmarks, customizable flyers, and pre-populated tweets. It's also an adaptable program that you can use however best serves your community. During a coloring program, you can set out some Banned Books Week coloring sheets. You can hide Words Have Power swag inside banned books and post clues on your library's bulletin board. This is also an opportunity to showcase your own resources. You can prop up flyers next to your eye-catching Banned Books Week displays, or show your patrons where they can find your book selection policy. And another fantastic perk is that libraries also are entered into a drawing for fantastic prizes. So let's go over some of these partner prizes. When libraries fill out the partner form, they're automatically entered into a drawing for 4 amazing prizes. The first prize is an Advocacy and Intellectual Freedom Bootcamp, which is led by the director of the ALA Office for Intellectual Freedom, my office, and the director of ALA Office for Library Advocacy. The second is Banned Books, Defending the Freedom to Read. This book is an indispensable resource guide with First Amendment cases, history, citations for book challenges. The next is Intellectual Freedom Manual, another fantastic resource with ALA course statements and guidelines. And lastly, a $50 gift card to the ALA store. And we won't force you to buy Banned Books Week swag, but I will admit that our design is pretty sweet this year. So lastly, I wanted to go over kind of the cheat sheet for the week. First, just some hashtags that we're using this Banned Books Week. If you're tweeting about just Banned Books Week in general, I would use hashtag Banned Books Week. If you're tweeting about the Rebel Reader Twitter tournament specifically, hashtag Rebel Reader. And then if you just have room in your tweets for a couple extra characters, use Words Have Power. In the resource section, those are some resources with frequently challenged books. So you can use those for displays or tweet out fun facts. In the easy to share section, these are some places where you can find social media shareable items. So our Banned Books Week Pinterest page, our free downloads page on bbooks has cover photos, infographics. We also have readout videos on our Banned Books Week YouTube page. And GIFy is what Kristen and I like to use for GIFs or GIFs to share. With design, these are some tools that our office finds helpful in creating social media content for Banned Books Week. Unsplash has high-resolution photos that don't need attribution. Canva is a designing tool where you can design posters, cards, practically anything. And then when we share pictures of our products, we use Instagram filters. Those are always nice. And lastly, in the tweet-worthy conversations, these are just some Twitter profiles to follow during Banned Books Week. And I also wanted to mention for the ALA Library Instagram, Kristen and I will be taking that over during Banned Books Week and sharing photos of some Chicago local Banned Books Week programs. So I'd love to answer any questions at the end of everyone's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Our next speaker is Maria Atilano. Maria is the Marketing and Student Outreach Librarian at the University of North Florida's Thomas G. Carpenter Library in Jacksonville, Florida. She began working in academic libraries in 2002 as a student employee while studying at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Before becoming a librarian, Maria held staff positions as Library Services Specialist in Public Services and Senior Library Services Associate in Special Collections at UNF. She graduated with her MLIS from Florida State University in 2012. Maria's professional interests include social media, marketing, graphic design, student outreach, instruction, and reference services. Follow her on Twitter at MD Atilano. Maria, it's all you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what my library has done in the past for social media campaigns, but I'm also going to talk about what we hope to do for Banned Books Week coming up. So I am responsible for coordinating our social media presence. We mostly focus on Facebook and Twitter, but we do also have accounts on Pinterest, LinkedIn, and YouTube. But again, most of our engagement, I'm also very interested in something called social listening. A lot of that is done on Facebook and Twitter, where we actually listen to what people think about the library and respond to it in kind. So we've celebrated Banned Books Week at my library for the last 2 years. So this will be our third consecutive year doing it. In the past, we've had exhibits and we've done readouts and a couple of passive programs like making blackout poetry. But this year, we're hoping to make it the first year where we focus heavily on increasing our social media engagement using original banned book related content. This will also be the first year that we have a theme for our Banned Books Week events and activities, which we plan to tie in with our new graphic novel collection, which I have to warn you guys I'm very excited about. I actually helped pick all of our books for our graphic novel collection, so excuse me while I get a little bit geeky. So our entire theme is called Graphic Novels Under Attack. So those of you who saw this year's list of most banned and challenged books, you probably saw that the top 2 books on this list were in fact graphic novels. It's an interesting and timely trend because we have our new graphic novel collection in the library. We've grown it from just a few volumes to over 180. And we've been partnering with faculty members in several different departments around campus and other groups and organizations to increase graphic novel literacy. So with this theme, we submitted a proposal for a Freedom to Read grant, and we're so excited when we were awarded $1,000, which we will use for the entire week of Banned Books Week. These funds will be used for many different events and activities, some of which are being partnered with other groups on campus. So some of these activities include a panel discussion with faculty members who actually teach about graphic novels, and we'll also be doing library exhibits, 2 pop-up maker spaces in the library, and also at our campus market day where they have an open air sort of arts market. And of course, social media will be a part of that. So for social media, we will be using the funds to pay for some advertising. And it'll be both before Banned Books Week as well as during the week itself. We hope to target students, faculty, and members of the community, not only to let them know about the upcoming events and activities, but to also get them involved with our theme for graphic novels under attack, and just get them involved in the conversation as a whole. We never really use paid advertisements because, like a lot of you we saw from the poll earlier on, we don't have a budget for social media. We don't even have a budget for marketing. So it's just a really interesting opportunity with the crew grant that we received to be able to say, yes, we can put money aside just to advertise specifically on Facebook. And it'll be interesting to see what that leads to. However, we want to give our social media posts and tweets a personal touch. Of course, we'll be using the Banned Books Week and the Words Have Power hashtags, and we're hoping to also help promote the Rebel Reader tournament. But we found from previous campaigns on social media that to get students involved, we have to make it personal messages. And the way that we do that is we get them to make those messages for us. So using the grant funds, we're going to purchase materials so we can recreate a popular activity that we did during this year's National Library Week, where we asked students to participate in a photo opportunity in which they professed their love about our library. So what we did is we created 4 11 by 17 inch signs, and you can see I included pictures of 2 of them here. Our library is called the Thomas G. Carpenter Library, so our nickname is Tommy G's. That's why it says, I love Tommy G's because I came to Tommy G's today to ... So we created these signs just using Photoshop. We printed them out. We had them laminated at the UPS store on campus. Then we set up a tent in front of the library and asked passerby to write on them using dry erase markers, following the prompts. We then took pictures of them, high res, of course, with their permission, also, of course, and we actually had over 100 photos taken of students, staff, and faculty, basically saying, we love the library, and we came here too, and my favorite part about the library is, etc., etc. We then used these photos and shared them on Twitter and Facebook during National Library Week. So for Banned Books Week, we're basically going to do this over again, except students will now be asked to write their favorite banned or challenged book on a specially made sign. And the sign, which we're just designing right now, it's very exciting. I don't have a picture to show with you guys, but it's going to look like the yellow book that you see in the bottom left-hand corner of each slide with the person raising their fist. That's what our sign is going to look like. And then so the people can actually write the title of their book on the book cover. So it'll look really nice. And of course, we'll add a hashtag to the sign, etc. So here's some examples of the posts and tweets we did for National Library Week. Here's a tweet showing a student who provided a very helpful hashtag, which then I stole and used on our Twitter account. It's Women in STEM. So she came to the library to study, and of course she's in some sort of STEM program. She has a lovely smile to go with it. Here is one of our Facebook posts. So as you can see, we always share our dedicated live guide. So we'll be doing the same thing with our Banned Books Week guide, which is being updated now to reflect the graphic novels and Under Attack theme. This post in particular was fun. We got some great comments. People who, for example, knew these guys apparently. They study in the library a lot. And of course, they have their skateboards on hand. And they were just such good sports. They wrote really pithy comments. So one guy, for example, on the right, his thing says, "This year, Tommy G's helped me put the stud in study." So yes, we got some very interesting comments, but all very positive. And yeah, I see somebody commented about the swoop. We are the Ospreys at UNF, so swoop is often used as like sort of like our war chant. It's something that we do during basketball games, and we swoop to success. You know, so Ospreys swoop. That's what he does in the library, apparently. Here's another one from Facebook. So I wanted to share this one specifically because I love the fact that it got a comment from an alumni. So this person, for example, when she said giving up the library was undoubtedly the worst part of graduating, it was just so sweet because here's the student, her photo is sharing the fact that her favorite spot is her graduate study carrel, but then the person commented and said she misses the library because she misses her study space. And so I got to reply back from the library's account to say, thank you so much. You could always come back. We're open to the public. We would love to see you again. So it wasn't just about the student's message that we took a photo of, but it's also the message that it created in the comments itself. So I also want to include something about the fact that not only are we trying to recreate it because it was fun, but also it received very high levels of engagement. So our engagement isn't too shabby, usually on Facebook and Twitter. However, we did see increased impressions and engagement as far as reach on both Twitter and Facebook. We posted 21 posts with the photo ops, and we received higher than usual reach. So we usually get 4,000 or 5,000 impressions a week on Twitter, and we received almost 6,000 impressions for this week. However, our biggest increase was on Facebook, where we reached 15,000 people. That's an average of 715 per post. Our usual reach is just under 3,000 a week, so this was a huge success for us. It's important to note, like I said earlier, that we use no paid advertisements on Facebook, either before or after National Library Week. So these increased numbers are mostly due to people sharing and commenting on the posts. I mean, it's just a fact that people are more likely to share or comment on things that resonate with them. So if they happen to see their face or their friend's face on the library's Facebook page, they're more likely to act. Or, comment and share, say, hey, that's my friend. Here's another example, by the way, on this page about the students group. They're engineering students, and we know that because they're here all the time. And they're holding up one of the signs that says, I came to Tommy G's today too, and it's just a physics equation. And so it's just they came here to physics, apparently. And so that was my pithy comment in the Facebook post about libraries transform. So again, it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out with people's comments when they write down about their banned books and their favorite banned books. So our goals. So for Banned Books Week, when it comes up, we hope students will enjoy our prompts and take part like they did for National Library Week. We'll be sharing these photos on Facebook and Twitter throughout the week, as well as, of course, using our Banned Books Week and Words Have Power hashtags. If you can think of any other ones to throw out, we'll use them too. Thanks to the grant funding, we'll be experimenting with targeted paid advertisements, which may increase our engagement even more. So it'll be interesting to compare how we did for National Library Week with no paid advertising, with how we're going to do for this Banned Books Week with the paid advertising. We'll, of course, share with our campus community and beyond. So we'll be tagging people. We'll be asking our partners around campus and in the community to come by, take part in the photo op, and then share on their own social media accounts. And then, of course, because we're using these high-res, or we're taking these high-res photos of our campus community members, we're going to be able to use them for years to come. So we'll be adding them on marketing materials, we'll be sharing them future years on different social media outlets, we'll be putting them in brochures and annual reports, I'm sure. And then, of course, we can share them with all of you. So if you want to see what our students come up with and what we share, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can find us at UNF Library. Thank you guys so much. And I'll answer questions.
Thank you, Maria. I look so forward to seeing what UNF posts in September. Last but not least is Allison Palmer. Allison oversees digital engagement at New York Public Library. New York Public Library is a leader in library social media and is consistently at the top of the who to follow lists. Allison is the person who makes all that happen. She has previously held digital roles at various nonprofit organizations, including GLAAD and the LGBT Community Center in New York City. When she's not at New York Public Library's Twitter account, you can find her at Allison Palmer. Allison, you now have the microphone to share how you reach people without paying for it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I am going to talk today about how to extend the reach of social media campaigns so that you can spread your message even further. And I'm going to focus on ways to do this for free or at a very low cost. So I'll show some examples of the New York Public Library's social media campaigns as examples. And hopefully this will be useful to you as you are thinking about and planning your Banned Book Week campaigns. There we go. Okay, so the first tip is to brainstorm, experiment, and then serialize. So always be brainstorming new social media ideas, try them out, and if they work well, make them regular, every month, every week, or so on. We've been using Facebook Live a lot over the past 2 years. As you can see if you're following us on Facebook. And it's a great way to see in real time what is resonating with your Facebook followers. You don't need any new equipment to use Facebook Live. We just use a smartphone and the Facebook page app. Facebook Live videos are great when you can prompt viewers to ask questions by posting comments. And then the people on the other side of the video can actually answer the questions in real time. We've tried using Facebook Live for a book sorting competition, for a couple of kids' story times, and for giving personalized reading recommendations. We even did a brief Facebook Live video of snow falling on our lions outside of the library. And giving reading recommendations has been one of the most successful ways to use Facebook Live for us, so we now do that regularly. So you can get reading recommendations from our librarians on Facebook Live. So the next tip is to make it easy for people to participate. For the last 4 years, we've done a Literary March Madness bracket during March, matching up 2 books or 2 authors and asking our followers to vote. And we've tried various ways to collect the votes. We've asked people to put them in the comments, and we finally settled on something that has made it even easier, which is a Twitter poll. Not much is easier than doing a Twitter poll, both on the setup side. It's really easy to set up, and it's really easy for people to participate. And then the results are tallied for you. Much easier, I have to say, than counting each comment every day. And I should mention that our winner for 2017 was The Handmaid's Tale. Up next, let participants make it their own. If you encourage creativity along with the participation, you will really inspire people. So every Friday, the New York Public Library reposts hashtag BookfaceFriday posts on Instagram. And we see tons of inspiring posts from across the country and even internationally. People really make this their own. It's actually really hard to choose which posts to repost because so many libraries and individuals are so creative in their posts. So if you haven't seen it, search for Bookface Friday on Instagram and you can see what I mean. The next tip is to do what works on each platform. Social media platforms are different, and that's a good thing, but it means that the same content won't always work on every platform. So, just in terms of the examples we've already shared, we did Literary March Madness on Twitter. We've done reading recommendations on Facebook Live. And we've done Bookface Friday on Instagram because it's such a visual platform. And it's easiest to do things that go along with how people are already using the platform. So think about how people use the different platforms, whether it's scrolling through photos, clicking through to links, and make sure that what you're asking people to do fits with that particular platform. Now I just want to talk about a few ways you can extend your reach by recruiting a large number of participants. When you're asking people to take part in your social media campaign, just remember to make it easy, and that goes for both individual participants or partners. When you ask people to participate, think of how you would ask your busiest friend to participate in something. Don't think about your most reliable supporter, the people who will always do what you ask them to do, but the person least likely to take action. And then make your ask concise and easy. You can always link to an FAQ for more information. Be as flexible as you can about the ways that people can participate, so you'll inspire creative responses whenever possible. And then this is just a note about campaigns on Twitter specifically. if you want your social media campaign to trend on Twitter, which can extend the reach even more, limit the campaign to one hashtag so you have more people using the same hashtag. And ideally have the participants tweet around the same time. This is sort of what Thunderclap does automatically, but you can also accomplish that through other ways. And not all campaigns need to trend on Twitter to be successful, but just keep those tips in mind if it does. And just because it's a social media campaign does not mean you're limited to recruiting participants using social media. Think about other ways to reach people: email, phone, signage in the branches. There are tons of ways that you can recruit people to participate in social media campaigns. Just a quick example, the Readers Unite social media campaign launched on January 3rd, and maybe some of you participated or saw this. And there were tons of social media posts from libraries, publishers, and individuals. Participants were asked to post the books that they're reading with the hashtag Readers Unite. And the morning of this launch, the hashtag Readers Unite was trending nationally on Twitter. And there were so many creative responses, you know, amazing group selfies, videos, and all of this, and it was great to see them. So I hope that these tips have been helpful as you're looking ahead to planning your social media campaigns for Banned Books Week. This is from a video that we made putting together a bunch of still photographs for Banned Books Week, where the books are actually doing the protesting themselves. And you can see that on our Facebook page. We couldn't get it to work within this presentation. But I'm happy to answer any other questions during the Q&A.
Before we move on, I'm going to try to do a screen share to show you what it looks like on Facebook, because it really is quite the cutest thing. Share my screen. Can you see that?
I can see it. Thank you.
All right, let me do. Okay. So thank you very much, Allison. I just have a couple more resources that I want to share before we move on to our Q&A portion of today's webinar. While I'm talking about these, feel free to start typing your questions into the chat box if you have stuff you'd like to ask our presenters. Now's a great time. We have created a thunderclap to shake up Twitter on the Monday morning of September 25th, the Monday morning of Banned Books Week. So raise your hand on the top of the screen if you are familiar with what a thunderclap is. Just kind of an informal poll. When you support a thunderclap, so that's 3 people, the boom is heard by your social reach. So our goal is to have 500 supporters before Banned Books Week. And last year we had over 1,000 supporters, and we reached 1.6 million people in the social reach. So if you're familiar, you can also go to the website Thunderclap. There's a really great video that kind of shows how it all works. But if you click on this link here, the Thunderclap It Projects Banned Books Week, you can support the Banned Books Week Thunderclap, and then the Monday of Banned Books Week, this message will go to all of your supporters. I'm also including a link to the ALA store where you can purchase posters, bookmarks, stickers, buttons, totes, and field reports. My personal favorite are the field reports. If you're curious about what these are, you can check out this blog post where I also have the link, which has a slideshow of the interior pages. It provides a great overview of all the public challenges of 2016. And with that, I'm going to bring it over to the Q&A. So now is the time you can ask our presenters how to handle certain situations at your library, how you would any advice they have for your certain particular situation, any questions about the Rebel Reader Twitter tournament, or how they are doing the photo app sessions at UNF, things like that. So feel free to ask our great social media. Yes, thank you, Allison. Social media wizards here. Well, Ellie, do you see the question from Karen about filters?
I do. Karen, we haven't talked a lot. We haven't specifically noted what we're going to do for Banned Books Week besides the Twitter tournament and the Thunderclap. So if it's all right with you, I will get back to you with an answer to this question. Just rereading it again.
One thing I was wondering about is I'm not sure if Twibbon is still going to be the preferred social media frame because, and maybe Allison or Maria knows too, now that Twitter has gone to the circle for profile pictures, are they still doing frames the same way?
Good question. This is Allison. I don't actually know. That's definitely worth looking into.
I know ALA has done a Twibbon in the past, and I would like to do it again, but I think it depends on if Twibbon is still doing something. We are probably going to be doing a Facebook frame for profile pictures, but haven't completely finished that yet. And as far as modifying the images, we are all about providing resources so that each library and community can make it their own. So we definitely encourage tweaking things and modifying things to make them your own. All right. Maria, do you see the question from Paige?
Yes, I do. So Paige, that's an awesome question about getting support and buy-in from the student base. I'm surprised because the student base was so easy because literally we were just standing outside and we'd say, hey, you want to take a photo? All you have to do is share why you like the library. And I mean, we had over 100 people do it. The difficulty was getting support and buy-in from library administration. And then we had to write a proposal and say, we need money to make these materials and here's what we plan to do with the photos. And yes, we're going to get them to, all the students had to fill out release forms. And so that was the hard part. Standing outside and smiling at students who are walking by and getting them to write on a board was totally easy. I would say if you are having issues, our backup was to have candy or cookies. So it would be, hey, do you want to do a thing? If you do, then you get a cookie. Or if your student base are still a little resistant, maybe offer pizza. or something with a little, or donuts, or something with a little bit more staying power. Yes, so when in doubt, feed them, because they will come if you feed them. Any student, no matter what. And we got students of all ranges too. So there were freshmen, there were grad students, we got staff and faculty members, and they all did it with no incentive except, hey, please do us this favor. And then they were really excited when they saw us sharing the photos, which we told them a little bit ahead of time. But I don't think that they expected to see a rotating image in the library on our first floor when they first walk in, for example. We had that up for a couple weeks after National Library Week. It was really
Well, and I think, Maria, too, what you said about allowing them to make it their own by putting their own words and things that they're passionate about into the campaign, you're touching base with what they really love. You know, I just can't get over the guy who put the physics equation on his board, because that was him.
And we gave them no sort of prompts. A couple of people said, I don't know what to say, but the fact that it was so open-ended, there were only 4, things that they could answer. And so they got to pick their board and they could write whatever they wanted. And we got a couple of people who said like they like to take naps in the library, but they all did it with a smile on their face. So.
And this idea is also very adaptable to any kind of school, whether it's academic or high school, even younger, as well as public libraries. If you have a kind of an outreach, I was just thinking about a library that I saw that had a table at their farmers market, or if they have jazz in the park, this would be a really great way to engage audiences that don't normally come into the library, and then they might be really excited to see their pictures on the library's Facebook page or Twitter account, if you can catch them at an outside event. See, I think we have a couple more questions coming in. Oh, this dead air just makes me very anxious. Well, while we still have some people typing, that reminds me, at the bottom of the screen there is a link to share your thoughts on a very brief survey about the webinar. And you can also email me if you need any kind of certificate of attendance for the webinar as well. And this webinar recording will be posted on our YouTube page as well. All right, question from Jay. Other than folks engaging through social media, what other results do your library see from this engagement? More people in the library, more research questions being asked, etc. It's an excellent question, Jay. Allison, Maria, Ellie?
So I can speak to this. This is Allison. Are you asking generally, sort of like what offline results do we see from social media campaigns in general, or is it specific to Banned Books Week? In general. Okay, thank you. I mean, I think it really depends. Depending on, what kind of campaign it is, I think, it's always great to have more people talking about reading, libraries, anything related to the work that we do. And, sometimes we do see, measurable responses, but it really depends. If we're trying to do something that is about engaging followers and keeping people enthusiastic, or if it's about a specific goal, coming into the library, getting a library card, downloading our e-reader app, or making a donation to support the library. It really depends on what we're going for. But I think that something that I've seen a lot that has been very valuable is that when people are engaged and they are commenting and they're writing back to sharing things with their friends through the library, we see a lot of comments to the effect of, I didn't know that was available at the library, or I didn't know that, it was that easy, or that this great event is happening at the library. So I think just, people being able to spread the word to their friends about things happening at the library is really helpful.
So Karen asks a specific question about privacy settings, and I think that makes a really good question. Allison, Maria, Ellie, do you have any idea on whether or not when you count things like hashtags, if privacy settings make a difference?
That's interesting. I mean, I think that, if if you're talking about from the perspective of yourself, the person managing the contest or campaign, and you need to read responses, I think I would put something in the contest rules that says that the post has to be public, because otherwise, if it's a private thing, you could just use a web form or a Google form or something to collect responses. But if you're doing a specifically social campaign, that's usually because you want, the friends of the participant to see that they're taking part in it, so that it, goes outside of that, and people can see the support publicly. So I would tend to say that if it's a social campaign, all of the, being publicly posted should be required as part of the way that you enter the contest.
I just want to quickly say that the privacy issues and us not being able to see people's posts or tweets is one of the reasons why we wanted to create the original content. And there's also no identifiable information on the photos unless the person, added it. We didn't call them out by name. We didn't say who they were because it just made it easier. But also we were the ones controlling what went on, and we didn't have to worry about the other people doing it. All they had to do was take a quick photo. But I mean, that's one of the things about social media, that's a conversation. So when the students did tag themselves on our photo, or they shared it with their friends, that's when it became really exciting, because we didn't ask them to do it, but they saw it, they recognized it, and then they shared it. And it was something active that they had to do it, as opposed to us having to hunt down or create a tag board for every time somebody mentioned or tagged us.
We have a question from Mike about the Friends of the Libraries group participating in the Rebel Reader Twitter tournament. Ellie?
Yes. Hi, Mike. So nonprofits and libraries can fill out the form and get the digital toolkit, but only libraries will be entered into the drawing. So I hope that answers your question. Let me know if it doesn't.
I think, Karen, this is a great question for Allison about Instagram for Bookface?
Yes, that you're right that is tricky, and there is not, there's not an easy way to do that. It's not built into Instagram, but you can do it in a number of ways. One way is take a screenshot and then repost that and give credit to, the original poster. And then there are a bunch of apps that will do that for you. So they basically take the screenshot for you and then repost it. So you can do it in either of those ways, but you're not missing out on some repost button. There isn't one.
While Karen is typing, I'm going to ask each of our presenters, what is your favorite tool that you use within social media that is the most time-saving tool?
I use two tools. One would be Hootsuite, so that's a tool where you can schedule posts in advance. Chris and I both work on that, and it's very helpful to see what kind of posts are scheduled. The other one is called Canva, which I mentioned in the presentation, and I'm just going to include a link right there. So we use Canva to create designs for the web, but also shareable content. So for banned book authors, we create kind of a quote post that's quite popular on Facebook. So those are just some of the tools that I like.
And things like that Q&A image that I have here on the slide right now is made from Canva. And I like it that I can use the specific colors that I want and I can overlap things. It's a very nice design tool. Allison, Maria, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, my favorite tool is TweetDeck. A lot of what I do, like I mentioned earlier, is listening on social media. So TweetDeck allows me to follow multiple keywords and hashtags at the same time in a really easy to look at interface. So for example, I just put Banned Books Week hashtag on my TweetDeck screen. It also allows you to schedule tweets in advance, like Hootsuite does, but it is just Twitter.
And this is Allison. I think one of my favorite things is the Twitter analytics. Twitter has offered analytics for a couple of years now, and I think, sometimes people don't always check them, but I am, checking them pretty consistently and find those to be really useful and free.
All right. Well, we are about 1 minute away from the end of this fantastic webinar, and I really want to say thank you to our presenters, to Allison, to Maria, and Ellie for sharing so much in the way of enthusiasm and creative ideas and technical know-how. It's been really great. I'll be emailing everyone with a link to the recording, and the webinar will be on the OIF YouTube page, and you're welcome to share it. As I said earlier, I've included a link to the short survey, so please let us know what you thought of today's time, and we really appreciate it. Don't hesitate to email us or get a hold of us if you have any questions about Banned Books Week or the Rebel Reader Twitter tournament, and I hope everyone has a fantastic Banned Books Week, and thank you for spending time with us.